Dinesh, at the end of the last segment, you mentioned the left's sort of antagonism toward Elon Musk. What is it that you've discovered about the censorship and the police state on social media specifically? Because obviously these Twitter files have been quite enlightening. And my thinking is if they were doing this to Twitter, then they must be doing it on all the platforms too.
Yeah, they were doing it on all the platforms, and probably it's safe to say that YouTube, and YouTube is owned by Google, and Facebook are far worse than Twitter. Jack Dorsey was a leftist, but not of the worst kind. On the other hand, what's apparently happened is that Zuckerberg has sort of surrendered to the censorship forces in Facebook. And then YouTube is perhaps the worst, because YouTube also operates with the Google search algorithm. And the point to remember about Google is that everything that's happening is behind the scenes. So you go in Google and you put in Dinesh D'Souza, most people naively think, well, okay, that's going to bring up the most common sites on Dinesh. Not at all. They have rigged the algorithm so that negative stuff is going to come up first. My stuff is going to be largely buried. And so what Google is almost like it's the man with the dials, and it's all it's a search engine, and it's a monopoly. So there are a couple of other search engines, but not the same. And Google has this whole philosophy. It's actually described in the film of it's a creepy idea that goes beyond, sending lists of people to knock them off of Twitter. It's called programming human beings. The idea is to use the Google search algorithm to reprogram the citizenry. I mean, think of the outrageousness of this idea and the notion of a private corporation taking it upon itself to do this. Very scary stuff.
Yeah, I noticed at first with Google a number of years ago when I would Google American inventors, and almost all of them were people of color that would appear at the top of the search results. And I don't have a problem with inventors that are people of color, but when you think about, traditional famous American inventors, it's disproportionately white people. So I was curious to see that they'd compensated for that historical fact with the search results that they were rendering.
I mean, this is truly Orwellian, isn't it? I mean, even Abraham Lincoln. Now, I haven't done this in the last few days, but few months ago, up until at least a few months ago, and probably now, just Google Abraham Lincoln, and then just look under what political party he belongs to. I mean, you think obvious, right? He's one of the founders of the Republican Party, the first Republican president. You won't see the word Republican appear in Abraham Lincoln's political party. And that's so telling, because what they're doing is they're manipulating. Now, there is, the situation at the time of the Civil War was complex, but what I mean is Abraham Lincoln was a dyed-in-the-wool, if you will, Republican, and yet Google wants to hide that from sort of young people and people who don't know better and people who I guess were born yesterday.